My name is Surya. I make music. I'm an artist, singer-songwriter, and producer. I was born in Chennai, India. I did a lot of extracurricular activities. I was quite hyper, so I was trying to do as much as I can. I did sports, but I also did acting and modeling and stuff. Did like 70 advertisements and a feature film, which was pretty cool because I got to be in the art world whilst also leading a pretty normal life. So my dad got a job in London. We relocated as a family when I was 10 years old. I think the big cultural change was just seeing people from different backgrounds, interacting with people from various ethnic backgrounds and kind of nationalities. That was very new to me. Came to high school, the first couple of years they were more so about adjusting to a different country and different cultural norms and things like that. So it was a bit of a change for me, and I did feel a little bit like an outcast at the beginning because there were certain practices that I carried over from India, like standing up when giving answers to teachers, for instance. That kind of alienated me from the student population. I think enthusiasm and passion was looked down upon. I think there is a little bit of reservedness that comes with British culture, which is great, but also can be detrimental in certain aspects. I felt like if people knew what you really want and your kind of aspirations, they'll just laugh at you and they won't take you seriously. So you kind of just have to go covert and work at it and grow it to the point where once it's ready for show, they can jump on it and people will recognize it. And if they don't, that's fine. It can just be secretive. Yeah, I think I kind of acclimatized to this culture in a couple of years. In that time, that's when I really started listening to music heavily. I listened to everything from Justin Timberlake to Rakim, and I really felt connected to hip hop because it was raw and it was talking about their own life stories, and it really painted the picture of the underdog. Music, even though I really liked it and I wrote songs and made beats, it was never something that I took super serious. I always fantasized about it, but it wasn't oh, I have a solid way to take this as a career. I went to Durham University and I studied philosophy, politics, and economics. I had a great time. It was really cool. I met loads of great people. I was working very hard in school to get into the university and course of my choice. But in university, I felt a little bit okay, now I've achieved the thing that I wanted to at that point. What's next? The next options that were there for me were in the traditional route, a career path or a master's program. And I felt like I worked hard to get into university, and then now they're telling me to work super hard to get into a master's program. It just felt like a hamster wheel, and I was just dancing to somebody else's tune, and I was trying to live up to the expectations society was setting for me. And that's when I kind of started thinking about what I want to do. And when I thought about what I wanted to do, I knew that I really had a passion for music. I knew that I could write good songs, and I felt it. So I started delving more into it, and that's when I started making music more. And the focus on academics, I was kind of stepping away from it consciously. When it came to making Move It, as an objective music listener, I felt like there was something to this track. It had a cool subject matter. It dealt with the issue of sexual harassment, so I was fine with the way the content came out. I felt like it had lyrical integrity, and I also thought that, the sound was really catchy. After I finished recording it, my demo version, that is, with my headphone mic, I wanted to get this properly recorded, and so I was looking for a recording space. Every single studio that I was looking at was way too expensive for me at that point. I was just a university student. So I thankfully just, found the Roundhouse, which provided concessioned recording studio rates for emerging artists, which is where I met AJ.
My name is AJ. I'm a sound engineer. I work at the Roundhouse and I freelance as well. I enjoy mixing and mastering. That's what I did as a hobby, and now I'm thankful enough to do it as a living. Well, I know Surya because we met at the Roundhouse. I am an engineer at the Roundhouse where I do mixing and recording, and one day this guy came up and he was like, "Hi, I'm Surya," and this was his first ever album that he was making. He had never told any other person or many people that he was working in music, but we had our session and straight away we just gelled. We worked on a track called Move It, and from there onwards we have just been working together. The first impression was definitely someone who was smart, who had a vision. I think the one thing that I admired about Surya the most, actually more than anything else, is his sense of vision. That's the number one thing as far as like being career oriented is concerned. He knows what he's going for, and I think it's a skill that I find I like to latch on to those people who have a sense of vision, because it makes me also dream bigger, right? Like as a person, because sometimes as you get older a little bit, you get solidified in like your ways of doing things, and I think people like Surya kind of like break you out of that for a second and make you realize actually there's more that's possible. So when we had the first session, he was full of anxiety. He was unsure. He was like, "Oh, what do I do? What do I do? I'm not sure. Are people gonna like it?" And then I didn't know him yet, but otherwise I was already gonna start shit talking. I'm like, "Nah, no one's gonna listen to this shit." This is what we do every time Surya gets super anxious. I'm like, "Nah, bro, it's like, is it good?" I'm like, "Not at all. Not at all. It's not good at all." And we just crack up and make jokes. But we know, I think, as part of the creative process is such that it's gonna make you feel like anxious, and you're gonna feel like how other people are gonna receive it, how it's gonna be judged. I think it's intrinsic in us, but to be able to face that and not be like thrown away by it, or like maybe I shouldn't do this, and to continue on is, I think, what makes someone like Surya like the visionary that I'm talking about.
I remember releasing Move It. It was in the summer of 2016. I was just about to go back to university after my summer break. I released it and instantly it was picked up by BBC Radio for airplay. I was super gassed. I thought, people would laugh at me for putting this track out, but I received a warm reception from my friends, and getting like BBC Radio play for the first track was pretty cool for me. It felt like I was heading to the right steps, and yeah, house parties were playing it in university, and I felt great. I thought people would laugh at the track because they don't know that I make music, and whenever you try to go out of the box that you appear to people in, it normally warrants for someone to laugh at you. If someone were to try something differently than the traditional route, people will feel like, why are they doing that? And I kind of was scared that their why would force me to not do the things that I wanted to do. I released my first independent album, Adolescence, in 2017, and straight away all of the tracks got picked up by BBC radio stations for airplay. Again, loads of blogs started picking up on it as well. We had like features from Britain all the way to South Africa, and yeah, it was really cool to not at all be a part of like the music industry and then to feel like, oh, I'm actually some kind of a player in it. I felt like I was taking control of my life more than anything. I felt like, I wasn't being passive, and I wasn't letting society push me into ways that it wanted me to. And I felt like I was making a stand for myself. I think just the fact that, I managed to kind of create all the tracks in my bedroom validated something to myself. I felt like, I kind of feel like I can produce the level of music that the people I look up to produce by myself. And that was like a big revelation to me. After Adolescence, I took some time off of music. I had to study, finish university. I graduated, came back to London, and I started looking around for opportunities within the music industry. I felt like I was chasing opportunities rather than making my own. In the meanwhile, I was in the process of writing my second project, which is Collage. Yeah, I kind of came to the realization that I kind of had to do it independently, and I'm going to, look at models like the Nipsey Hussles, the Jay-Z at his beginning career. So what I did was I got a job and started financing my second album. I started recording it, and I felt like every single part of it was being executed by me, and it kind of leaves you feeling a little bit anxious and without support, and you feel like, okay, I have so many things to do, but I have to do it by myself, and I was prepared to do that. But that changed when I met YCUK.
Hi, my name's Ben. I'm part of YCUK and I'm a videographer.
I'm Chris, social media entrepreneur and one of the co-founders of Young Creators UK.
Hey, I'm William. I'm a videographer at Young Creators and I'm the director of photography.
My name is Sebo Daniel. I'm part of YCUK and I'm a videographer.
YCUK is a new style of business. It's a blend between a youth service, a creative agency, and a community empowerment project. It's a company that's primarily run by young people, for young people, and seeks to amplify and enable marginalised voices while also attacking the commercial market at the higher end, delivering high quality media output. And I think behind all that, there's another element. It's like a family. It's like a network of creatives. And I think for members, that's probably the highest value part.
So when Surya first came into Young Creators, he came in, he was in his office clothes, he'd just come from work, and I was like, yo, he's this guy, is it? He's like, yo, he knows what he's doing. And he like shook my hand, and I was like, no one's shaken my hand in years. I was like, what's going on? And he speaks to me, and he's so formal, and everything's perfect and very sterile. And then he plays his music, and I'm expecting some like, I don't know, like some weird like white people indie shit, and then everyone's like, yo, this shit's hard. And it was like such a, like when you meet him and you talk to him, his voice in real life is so different to his voice in his music. But no, it was great. It was a very weird first impression, but it was sick.
My first impression of Surya was, when I heard his first song, Any Given Sunday, I was like, yo, this guy got mad talent, you know what I'm saying?
And having heard his music, he wasn't what I expected. But he was polite, sincere, authentic, and clearly very serious about his craft.
Working with Surya is quite a creative process. He really knows what he wants, but he also lets you have that leverage of adding your kind of view on things.
Surya in 3 words. Focused, creative, soulful.
Humble, talented, and future.
Unique, welcoming, and talented.
Really annoyingly attractive.
YCUK gave me a team. It provided me creative people that I can count on. It also provided me an outlet where I can express my ideas and know that it can be executed. We went out there, started getting the content pieces ready, started filming and planning out the release schedule. I also got into certain mentoring programs with loads of great industry professionals who were guiding me on my release plans and strategies. And yeah, we were getting ready. So Collage is a mixtape. It sees me refashioning older hip hop and R&B instrumentals with new melodies, lyrics and arrangements. So I've dipped into the unreleased and mixtape catalogs of great artists and producers that I admire. I've also taken some hits and I've kind of reimagined them and written new lyrics and songs to those instrumentals. So it really falls within the old mixtape convention. And yeah, I feel like it's going to be something that is refreshingly new for this era. You know, releasing and getting ready for release is one part, and then there's another whole chapter that comes up afterwards. Filming music videos, doing promotional things, marketing, and figuring out the next steps of what I'm going to do with my musical career has just kind of begun. So I hope I could be looking back at this video and seeing how far I've come from this point onwards.
I'm thinking of starting off the project with this.